Imagine you were standing on a dock in Sicily. It is a warm October morning. The sun is just coming up over the water. Fishermen are dragging nets. A baker is opening his shutters. Children are running through the narrow streets behind you. Ordinary life, a normal Tuesday. Then someone points out to sea. There are ships on the horizon, 12 of them. Genoese trading vessels flying the black and gold flag you've seen 100 times before. They left months ago for the ports of the Black Sea. Now they're coming home. Everybody on that dock relaxes. Ships mean trade. Trade means money. Life is good. But as the ships get closer, something feels wrong. The sails are ragged. The deck is too quiet. Nobody is waving. And then the smell hits you, even from 50 yards out. Sweet, wrong. The smell of something rotting that used to be alive. The harbor master rows out to meet the fleet. What he sees will change the world forever. To understand what is about to happen, you need to understand one thing about medieval Europe. It is completely, totally, catastrophically unprepared. It's 1347. Europe has no germ theory, no concept of bacteria, no antibiotics, no hospitals in any meaningful sense, no public health system. When people get sick, they pray. When the prayers don't work, they bleed themselves. When that doesn't work, they pray harder. The most advanced medical thinking of the age says disease is caused by bad air, miasma that rises from swamps and rotting matter. The idea that something invisible, something living, could crawl into your body and kill you in 5 days. Completely unthinkable. And Europe is packed, dangerously, beautifully packed. London has 80,000 people. Paris over 200,000, the largest city in Western Europe, crammed into medieval streets barely wider than your arm span. Florence is booming, drunk on banking and art and its own genius. Cities everywhere are growing, thriving, buzzing. And everywhere, in every city, every ship, every house, there are rats. Nobody thinks anything of the rats. Now let's talk about where these 12 ships actually came from, because that is one of the most horrifying journeys in human history. The Black Death, caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, didn't start in Sicily. It started somewhere in Central Asia, probably the steppes near modern Kyrgyzstan, as early as the 1330s. From there, it moved like a slow fire along the Silk Road, through the markets of Samarkand, through the Persian trading cities, into the ports of the Black Sea. By 1346, it had reached Caffa, a Genoese trading city on the Crimean coast. And here is where history gets genuinely horrifying. Caffa was under siege by a Mongol army led by Janibeg Khan. His troops were dying, not from swords, but from the plague. And in what may be the first recorded act of biological warfare, Janibeg ordered the bodies of his dead soldiers catapulted over the walls of the city. Let that sink in. He weaponized his own dead. The Genoese inside Caffa started dying almost immediately. The survivors, those who could still walk, ran for the ships. They loaded whatever they could carry. They pulled up anchor and they sailed west toward home. They didn't know they were already infected. They didn't know that the fleas on the rats hiding in their cargo holds were carrying something that would rewrite the history of the world. Those are the 12 ships now approaching Messina harbor. And the people on that dock have no idea. It is early morning in Messina, October 1347. A merchant named Antonio has been waiting for these ships for 3 months. He has a contract for Crimean furs, and he has buyers waiting in Palermo. He is standing on the harbor wall, squinting at the horizon, calculating profit. He is the first person on shore to notice that the ships are behaving strangely. They are moving too slowly. There are no sailors visible on deck adjusting the rigging as the ships come into port, something every experienced seaman does automatically. The vessels are drifting almost, barely controlled. The harbor master rows out to meet them. A Franciscan friar named Michele da Piazza documented what he found. His account still survives. He wrote that the sailors had disease clinging to their very bones, that those still alive were so covered in black swellings that they could barely move. Blood was seeping from lesions across their bodies. The smell was unbearable. The harbor master turns his boat around and rows back to shore as fast as he possibly can. Now comes the decision that haunts history. The port officials of Messina gather. The question is simple: do the ships dock? There are arguments for yes. These are Genoese merchants, political allies, trading partners. Their cargo is valuable. Turning them away is an insult with diplomatic consequences. There are arguments for no. Whatever is on those ships is unlike anything anyone has seen. People are dying at the oars. Finally, the order goes out. The ships are not permitted to dock. They must leave Messina immediately.
It is the right call. It is made about 6 hours too late.
Here is the part that makes this story unbearable. Even as the officials debate, even as the order to expel the fleet is being drafted, the disease has already left the ships. It's not dramatic. That's the terrifying part. There's no moment where you can point and say, there, that's where it happened. It's a flea jumping from a ship rat to a dock rat. It's a sailor who came ashore briefly to buy water and scratched a bite on his wrist. It's a crate of goods unloaded before anyone realized what was happening. And now Yersinia pestis is in Messina. Somewhere in this city today, maybe 10 or 20 people have already been bitten by infected fleas. They feel fine right now. Maybe a small itch on the ankle, that's it. In 3 to 5 days, they will develop a fever that feels like standing inside a furnace. Hard, agonizing swellings will appear in their groin, their armpits, behind their knees. The buboes that give this plague its name, filling with fluid and turning black under the skin. Some will rupture. The pain is described by survivors as beyond anything the human body should be able to endure. 60% of people who get it will be dead within a week. Hold that number, don't rush past it. 60%. But today they just have an itch. And today they go home. They eat dinner with their families. They sit next to their neighbors in church. They sell bread at the market. They carry fleas on their clothes that carry bacteria in their gut that is about to kill half of Europe. They have no idea. None. While all of this is unfolding in a Sicilian harbor, let's take a moment to look at the world that has no idea what's coming. In Paris right now, the scholars of the Sorbonne are debating Aristotle. The city is the intellectual capital of the Western world. 200,000 people, universities, cathedrals, the constant noise of a civilization at its peak. Within 2 years, Paris will lose a third of its population. The bodies will be stacked so fast, the churches stop performing individual last rites and begin blessing mass graves by the cartload. In Florence, a young man named Giovanni Boccaccio is just beginning his literary career. In 3 years, he will watch his city convulse and die around him, and he will write it all down in a book called the Decameron, one of the most important documents of the entire medieval period, born entirely from catastrophe. In London, King Edward III is planning another campaign in France. He has no idea that within 18 months, he will be writing letters begging God for mercy as his own daughter dies of plague on her way to her wedding. And across the countryside, in the villages and farms and monastery gardens of Europe, ordinary people are doing ordinary things, harvesting late crops, mending fences, putting children to bed. None of them have heard the word that is about to define their entire era: pestilence. Hold on that word. As evening falls on October 1347, the 12 Genoese ships are pushed away from Messina. They will not find welcome anywhere. Port after port along the Sicilian coast, Catania, Syracuse, Trapani, will turn them away as news of what they carry spreads ahead of them. The sailors on board are dying faster now. By the time the last ship is abandoned weeks later, almost everyone who sailed from Caffa will be dead. But it doesn't matter anymore. By the end of 1347, Messina is in chaos. The disease is burning through the city like fire through dry wood. People are dying too fast to bury. Priests who come to give last rites are dying themselves before they can finish the prayer. The city empties. Those who can flee, flee. And in fleeing, they carry the disease with them to the mainland, to Catania, to Palermo, to Genoa, to Venice. By January 1348, it is in mainland Italy. By March, it is in France. By summer, it has crossed the Pyrenees into Spain and the Alps into Germany. By the following year, it is in England. The numbers that came out the other side are almost impossible to process. In 4 years, just 4 years, the Black Death killed between 75 and 200 million people worldwide. In Europe alone, somewhere between a third and half of the entire population was dead. Think about what that actually means. Walk into a room of 10 people. Look around. 3 to 5 of them gone. Their chairs empty. Their names unsaid. Their children orphaned or dead alongside them. In some places it was worse. In certain cities of France and Italy, death rates reached 70%. Florence lost half its population in 4 months. Siena lost so many people mid-construction that the cathedral they were building was simply abandoned. It still stands today, unfinished, a Gothic skeleton, a monument to a city that ran out of people. In England, entire villages were erased, not damaged, erased. You can still find them today if you know where to look. Just low green ridges in a field, the outlines of houses that no one ever returned to.